Welcome back to the Laoise Online podcast. My next guest has over 40 years of experience in the hair industry and hair loss solutions industry. I am so delighted to introduce my lovely friend Helena Muldoon. How are you?
Thank you, Laoise. Thank you very much. Pleasure being here.
Oh, thank you so much. Would you like to introduce yourself to the podcast?
Yes, my name is Helena Muldoon, as you said, of number 21 Helena's Hair Clinic. I have been a hairdresser for over 40 years and I currently own my own business for 34 of those years. I started off hairdressing and then got into the hair loss clinic, which is huge now. There's such a need for it.
Mm-hmm. And tell me about how this all started, where your passion for the hairdressing industry at the start of your career began. I know you've told me stories, obviously, we're family friends. I've always looked up to you. So tell me about that time.
Well, when I was about 6 years of age, I'm the youngest of 14, the youngest sibling of 14 children, 8 girls and 6 boys. And one of my older sisters, she was 13 years older than me, had her own salon when I was around 6 years of age. And I used to go with her on a Saturday morning, clamber out of between the bed for everybody and sneak out of the house and go off, no matter what weather it was. I just loved going to her salon and helping her like hand the rollers and brush up and look after the clients as best I could. So yeah, that kind of probably got me the bug at that age. I know it sounds very young, but I always had a passion for it. And it wasn't until I was at secondary school and on my 4th year I didn't really like school. I got on okay. I was probably bullied for those 4 years and I couldn't wait to get away from school. So the first opportunity I got, I was out of there. So a course came up. I couldn't get into hairdressing at the time. A course came up for business studies and at our local technical college. So I went there and I'd done the business studies for 2 years. And in between that time, I did do a summer job in a hair salon. And it was just on Saturdays and during the summer and I absolutely loved it. The lady that took me and another girl on the time, she really only wanted us for the summer months. So I had to go back to the tech and finish my business studies, which I did and passed and done very, very well. And the day I left the technical college, I went to our local job centre seeking employment, and there was a notice on for an apprentice hairdresser. So I just thought, this is waiting for me.
Be, isn't it?
This is waiting for me. So I applied for the job and the rest is history.
And then you're such a success story, why didn't you get onto that hairdressing course in the first place?
There wasn't any availability at the time. And because I was the youngest as well of 14, probably spoiled a bit as well, but my mum and dad wouldn't have let me go any further afield, so I had to stay pretty local and do another course. Wasn't that happy at the beginning of it, but did quite like it. And people say, oh God, you wasted time doing business studies, but I would really never feel it.
Owner?
Yeah, I'm a business owner now, and it was a big advantage to me setting up my own business, as in doing a business plan and doing research and things like that before I actually started. So it was a good help. And knowing about banks and loans and, all that sort of thing. And accounts, especially accounts, is so important. Yeah. So, yeah.
And tell me about the process then of setting up that business. How did it come about then, and what gave you the kind of motivation to think, I'm able to do this?
Well, the salon that I worked in, I was there for almost 4 years, and the lady trained me and I went one day a week till the college in Enniskillen. And then I worked the rest of the week. And once I was qualified, I said to her I really wanted to spread my wings, so I decided I would move to London. And I did want to have my own salon, but I didn't want to even open up on the doorstep on competition with her because I felt, it wasn't a nice thing to do. So anyway, I wanted to gain more experience, so I flew the nest and I went to London.
Wow.
And yeah, very sad day for my parents and for me too, but I was just ready to take that next step and I wanted to gain more knowledge, more experience, which I did. So I stayed there for over 2 years and I came back and I managed to salon for a very short time in another town. They just wanted someone to get set up and going, and I employed staff for that person that owned that salon. And then I moved on and looked for premises myself and opened up my own salon.
Wow.
So that's how I started, 1991.
Such a go-getter. And then obviously you're telling us you grew up in rural Tyrone, and what was it like then stepping off that plane in London? Were you thinking like, what have I done?
Or
did you feel
I know,
excited?
it was like, you were just speaking to everybody and hello to everybody and people just walking past
Pure
you.
culture shock.
Yeah, complete culture shock. Yeah, absolutely. But, very exciting, really very exciting. I was going to other girls and none of them were hairdressers. They were all in the business end of things. So I stayed with the girls that I knew for a short time, and then I moved in myself at my own place. And I was really proud of myself. Done hairdressing part-time, went on loads of courses, got a full-time job, had offer for Steiner's cruise ships. They, have hairdressing salons on those, so they offered to do that. Opted not because I loved coming home. Every chance I had, still I came home to visit the family and lots of nieces and nephews, as I say. So yeah, stayed there for over 2.5 years, and then came back, as I say, and started the business.
And then fast forward to today. Tell me about Number 21 and what you offer there.
So at Number 21, we are a hairdressing salon as well. We do all the normal hairdressing services. Then we have a hair loss clinic on our second floor. So it's very discreet. People coming in with issues. Yeah, you're seeing it firsthand, and a lot of people are very nervous even about discussing their hair loss needs or hair thinning needs. So it's a good point for us as hairdressers to spot that and discreetly, advise the client. And then if they need to go the next stage, well, then we offer them a consultation at the hair clinic, and that's just within the same premises, but it's a separate business. So yeah, it is very, very discreet service, and it's not something that we do advertise, but just our website. But because it's such a discreet, delicate, issue with people, it's not something that, I go on Instagram and do things like that. It's not that kind of a business, really,
Yeah. And define for me, what is hair loss?
So hair loss comes in many forms. People have just natural hair thinning. It can be hereditary. It can be down to a poor diet. Dramatic dieting, people dramatically diet, and that's one very, very vital one, and obviously medically induced. So maybe someone that's going into the menopause or has a full hysterectomy, they can lose the hair quite rapidly after having a baby, obviously postpartum, and also then chemotherapy. It's a huge one. But also alopecia is very big in Northern Ireland. It had been the largest amount of clients I would have had when I started would have been alopecia clients, which is quite strange. And then obviously I was awarded the contract for the NHS for 7 years. I didn't cover the Western Trust, so then that was not all chemo, but alopecia as well. So also on a normal basis, everyone loses 50 to 100 hairs a day. Now that may be quite a lot for some people and not for others. It is a normal process. Your hair is growing, so that hair has to go somewhere. There are different times of the year that will happen. Usually maybe autumn time, late autumn and early spring. So people panic and see all this hair in the drain, and they really, really panic. Maybe if it is over excessive, yes, definitely they would need to seek medical advice there, professional advice, because it could be something else underlying. But in general, that is the case. We all lose 50 to 100 hairs a day. So but yeah, it's very important if they see that excessive falling out in their clothes, or when they run your fingers through it in this hair in your hands, yeah, definitely they need to go and see their GP, because they might need a series of tests done as well to check what's going on.
Different times of the year can impact how much hair we're losing. Why is that? Is it because of the cold weather?
No, it's like you're going into a different season. It's a bit like the trees shedding their leaves and their new leaves are growing. It's kind of the same process for our hair. So your hair can't stay there all the time. You have to have hair growing, it grows at different levels of it all the time. But keeping your hair trimmed regularly in good condition really, really helps. If you don't trim the ends of your hair, split ends will just run up the hair shaft and just keep breaking off.
Yeah.
So you need to look after your hair as well for that reason. That will break as well. Yeah. That could break any time of the year if you haven't got, your hair well conditioned or trimmed or treated well. But yeah, it would usually be that autumn time of the year.
That is so interesting. It just goes to show everything is a cycle. You said as well that there is a little bit of a taboo about people talking about hair loss, which I think is crazy, because I read on the NHS that 6.5 million men and 8 million women actually struggle with hair loss across the UK. So why do you think there is that taboo still? Do you think it's maybe a general cultural issue or a confidence thing?
Possibly a bit of both, confidence very much so. I would have a lot of ladies that have came to me, and very embarrassed about it, and I was saying, well, why would you be embarrassed? I'm here to help, so this is what I can offer you. So someone that's just general hair thinning, we also do hair loss systems and programs for them, to use at home and come into the salon and have treatments as well. Because that is one really important thing. When someone loses their hair, they also lose that salon experience. And women love going to a salon. It's such a social thing, and we all love to get in and chat and natter and have a wee cup of coffee and sit and, just talk to other people, and you just, maybe switch yourself into a different world and different mode. And I feel hairdressers were more than hairdressers, were like counsellors as well. Yeah, so people 100%. Do tend to open up, and especially when I have them in the hair loss clinic in the consultation room, they really just bare their soul. They really, really do, So I'm very honoured. I feel very honoured. Yeah. To be able to help in that way.
And tell me then about that space. It's such a welcoming space that you have, and you're saying that discretion and sensitivity is a really important thing to you. So when you were designing the space, I know this is a little bit of a different question, but and you said it's on, as I know as well, it's on the second floor. So tell me about just basically the design process.
Well, the design, we started off in the salon downstairs, and it would have been a smaller premise. We bought the premises, my husband and I, just before we got married, and done it all up, and till the ability that we could at the time, which was excellent. And and you had been doing hair pieces, and it was in a separate part of the salon. You had to go in one door and out the other. So, you know, after a couple of years, we decided we would do a renovation. So we completely renovated the whole thing and brought it all into one, but still had a separate dedicated discrete area to take our clients. So that second floor would have been flats. So we converted that completely into flats and utilised every part of it. So we also have styling basins up there, and styling mirrors for people that come in with partial pieces, so they can have their hair treatments done up there as well, discreetly taken off. We can wash and style that. One of the clients or staff can do that, and then someone else or myself can do the scalp massage and treatments and that sort of thing on them as well. So they're getting the privacy, and they're still getting their salon experience back. So we have several rooms that we can use, and we have then a very big area where we display all our wigs and hair pieces and hair accessories and hair coverings that people like to wear as well after treatment and that sort of thing. So
I have to say, on a really just personal note, knowing you as a person, you know, it is completely like that. And obviously I go to the salon, and it is such a lovely space, and honestly I really do look up to you, and the way that you make people feel. It is such a beautiful place and so unique, especially in Northern Ireland. So it is honestly a credit to you. But you're talking about the different treatments, so how do you determine you know, based on someone's condition, what treatments you use? So I've seen something about a scalp analysis.
Yes, so we initially, when someone books a consultation, we take them into one of the rooms. I go through a series of questions and just try and get a wee picture of what's going on with them as well. You know, is there hair loss? You know, just their life and their lifestyle, and you know, there's a lot of, you know, maybe factors there, their diet, their environment, you know, stress, all those things. So then, you know, in that case, then we go through that all, personalise that for the person, and I offer then, we do state-of-the-art microscope on the scalp, so it magnifies the scalp up to 200 times.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing when you see it under a microscope, and you can see hairs that are, you know, active and ones that aren't, and maybe spaces and gaps in between, you know. So once we see that and we can show that to the client, we can explain a wee bit more to them, you know, in depth of what's going on. And then we'll, you know, I'll tailor something that assistant suits their needs, and we can do it in the salon, and they can also take treatments home to use at home as well.
So what kind of treatments then?
So Nioxin, we've been using Nioxin for, oh my goodness, for almost 28 years. I'm
I'm also a big fan of the Nioxin.
It's fabulous, it really is. And I use it too. I mean, I have good hair too, you know, I do. But I use it as a daily treatment. You know, you have to wash your hair with something, so you may as well use something that's beneficial. It's not all for hair thinning either. It's for hair that's just fine, body, lifeless. So, we use Nioxin, and we also do treatments for the scalp. We all exfoliate our bodies before we do our tans. We exfoliate our face before we apply our makeup. You know, we're very good at doing that, but no one ever thinks of exfoliating their scalp, and it is vital.
What is that? Like, how do you exfoliate your scalp?
Well, we do treatments, but you can do it yourself in the shower when you're washing it. You have a lot of dead cells on your scalp. Most people are just surface washing their hair. They're not really getting deep down.
No. Why'd you never tell me this?
There's a lot of little dead cells floating about in there, and it doesn't matter. You can wash your hair every day of the week, but if you're not removing those by, you know, gentle massage or a natural exfoliator, they won't come off your scalp. They just keep building up and building up and building up. So we do an in-salon treatment when someone's maybe pretty bad, maybe perhaps someone with psoriasis that have a very, very flaky scalp. We'll do an exfoliation on that treatment in the salon. This a dermabrasion is called. Very gentle, very safe. If the skin's broken, I would be very, very careful. And sometimes we don't do it in that case, but you know, we know how to guide through the head very carefully, and it's an amazing product, amazing treatment.
Wow.
Works really well.
You said as well you could wash your hair every day of the week, and that actually got me to think, how much as a hairdresser would you recommend someone wash their hair?
Well, generally, I would say for women, twice a week is probably quite a, you know, enough, really.
Yeah.
It depends on the length of your hair. You know,
Yeah.
people with short hair would just jump in the shower and wash their hair every single day.
Seriously?
But again, it's just a quick surface wash,
Yeah.
and men obviously wash maybe once, twice a day their hair. So
Once or twice a day?
yeah, you know, then if they're working,
Seriously?
yeah, well, they get in the shower in the morning before
Yeah.
they go to work or whatever, and then come back and they're washing
know
again. Because you need to wash the environment out of your hair, believe it or
Yeah.
not. If you're working in a very dusty area, or if you go on trains or tubes, especially London, for
Oh my
my
God.
goodness, you know the smell, and
100%. Yeah.
there's lots of dead skin cells
Yeah.
down there. I mean, millions, billions, trillions, and that is going onto your skin, onto your clothes. It's the same as the pollen outside. Anyone that suffers hay fever, they're advised to wash their hair every single day. Actually, every time they go out and wash their clothes.
Oh my God.
It
Yeah,
seems a
yeah,
bit
yeah.
extreme, but if you are a sufferer in that way, it's very important to do that, you know. So, yeah, I mean, those products aren't harsh to use. You know, it's better using good quality, definitely good quality products, and they won't strip the hair or dry it out. So exfoliating is very, very important, yeah.
And tell me a bit about the Nioxin as well.
So Nioxin, it says, is a system. There used to be 6 systems in it. Now they've broken it down to 4. I have it in over 28 years now, and I've just seen it improve and improve and get
Yeah.
better and better. Done lots of courses, and Mark Blake's also the trichologist to the renowned, famous, as I say,
Yeah.
Harley Street. He is the ambassador for it.
Yeah.
He would, he wouldn't recommend anything else. So there's different systems, number 1 to 4. For natural hair, maybe that's not coloured, you would use that one, and that's like an everyday shampoo. Number 2 then would be for coloured hair, this progress thinning. So there is a way of using it. It's not just a matter of washing your hair and just rinsing it off. It must be left on, massaged into the scalp, get the stimulation going. The same with the conditioner. Once that's rinsed off, you give it 2 washes. The same with the conditioner, must be left on, as you know. I've harped on to you about that. So everyone that buys the kit that we would recommend for them that suits, and then the individual products, we give them a handout of how to use it correctly. As I said, it's not just a surface shampoo. You've got to get beneath the surface of the scalp. We have several layers of skin to get through there, and your hair follicle is way, way down there. It's like a wee bulb sitting flattened down below the surface of the skin. So you know, some people get very blocked up, and you know, just build up of natural oils, products, environment, as I say, all those things that's not going to get deep down there. So what Nioxin does naturally, it gets down into the root of the hair. So if you imagine your hair sitting just in a wee dish, as kind of just like that, and through time, that whole area around here gets blocked up with, as I said, all those issues, and you know that you're using products or oils or just the general environment. So Nioxin helps to, you know, open that out. But if you're not doing that, your hair's growing thinner and choking up all the time, and they're getting thinner and thinner and thinner. So trying to grow, it's getting thinner, and then first maybe just going to pop off in some cases, and a lot of people it does, and it doesn't grow any healthier. Then that can grow over with DHT, which is the male hormone, which causes male pattern baldness, female pattern baldness. So as I said, Nioxin is very natural in that way, that it helps to clean that out below the surface of the scalp. So say someone's scalp is like that's very, very smooth. In some cases that hair may not grow back, but when we use the microscope on their scalp, we can see if there's any life in there, and therefore then we can recommend what we need to do with that. And it is a program of how we do it. It's not just you buy this kit and you use it for 6 weeks, 8 weeks. You know, if you're going to use it and want to see results, you must be committed to using it.
And then for somebody who is thinking, oh, I'm going to do this and really commit to it, as you say, how long do you need to be massaging your hair for?
Well, 1 to 3 minutes. You know, most people are generally washing their hair, but people, everybody tends to scrub and use their nails. You're really not meant to do that, because you're going to maybe break the skin. Plus there's bacteria under people's nails, so it's going to go into your scalp as well. If you have any wee spots or issues, you're going to make that worse. So we recommend the pads of your fingers and very gentle circular movements. And you know, when you do that massaging as well, it's actually really nice and releases tension from the scalp. Women carry an awful lot of tension in their scalp, their neck and their shoulders.
Now you're saying that, I can actually feel it.
You can feel it, can't you? Or if you had your hair up all day in a ponytail, you know, your hair's really, really cramped. So it's lovely just to give that bit of a release on your scalp. And then when you get the blood flow going, and when you have a healthy blood supply, you'll have healthy growth.
It's really interesting. And then as well, I've heard a lot of things about different oils, and I actually was using castor oil, and I have found my eyelashes have grown so much, my eyebrows. But what is your opinion on using oils on the hair, like the likes of rosemary oil as well? Well,
there's no real scientific evidence for that or proof. There's a lot of stuff out there on the internet, and people are really taken in by it. There's people selling lots of different things. really, if you've any serious issues that you're concerned about, you need it. Go to see your GP firstly.
Yes.
Because you could be using something there that has an adverse reaction to what you're using, and maybe if you have a condition, you could be causing more harm. These things, they can work for some people, but they're not going to work for everyone.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is, one size doesn't fit all. And that applies to products and hair pieces and wigs. There's a whole world out there, and there are a lot of people maybe exploiting it a wee bit, which is a shame. So
because people, when they're desperate, will listen
yeah,
to
of course you will.
anything.
You'll reach out and you'll see something, you'll pay X amount of
When
pounds,
it's accessible.
and it may not even be the right thing at all. You
Yeah.
waste your money, you waste your time, and then there's no backup. That's the thing. I feel we have that backup in the salon and clinic. We're there for people to come back again and again. Whereas if you buy something on the internet, you're maybe stuck with it, you can't send it back. You come into us, we'll do a full consultation, assess your needs and show you exactly what we have and what we feel is right for you. You can try on as many pieces and things that you need to try on, and we take it from there then.
And as you said, and we've spoken about before, like, your work is backed in science, and you always recommend that people actually consult their GP before you kind of recommend different things.
Absolutely.
Would you like to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, when you're saying people using, like you're talking about castor oil, I'm not saying that they're going to do anyone any harm, but you don't know, and you don't know where they've come from, where they've been made. We know where our products are coming from, and we have that backup. So, if anything happens, that we have that backup there. So, if someone, say, has hair thinning and they don't know why it's happening, and they come to us, we'll say, we'll go to the GP, and I would recommend bloods. They need some bloods done. And obviously I'm not a doctor, so I can't say you're lacking in this, you're lacking in that, but I would give them a series of bloods I would think would be suitable for their needs. Maybe someone is on thyroxine for a thyroid issue. That's a very common one for hair loss, as is some high blood pressure tablets. But I would never say stop taking that, your hair is going to grow back, because that's not the case. So they must stay on their medication, and we would stress that, but we would send them to the GP to discuss what's happening there. The same goes for supplements. People could be taking the wrong supplements. I'm saying you need vitamin B on a daily basis, we all do, but there's some people maybe taking too much of that or too little, or you might need zinc or selenium, panthenol. You need all those things for healthy growth in your hair. But again, you'd need to seek medical advice before you would start to take anything. But see the GP, and then the next step will maybe come to us then, and then we can discuss it from there. That's where the trichology comes into it. It's a bit more, it's the science of hair loss and scalp conditions. So that's where it comes in, and that's where Mark Blake, I've trained with him to learn a lot more about that. So you can recognise conditions in the scalp, because they can be very easily mixed up and confused as well.
And then, so what is, for anybody who's listening thinking, what is this trichology that they keep mentioning? What is trichology? Because I didn't know actually until quite recently.
Well, trichology, we go to a dermatologist for our skin. So a trichologist is for your scalp and your hair. Basically, that's what it is. It's more about the science of it, and going that bit more in depth and detail of how your hair grows, about your diet, nutrition, all psychological. There's so much more. It's just a minefield of things. It's amazing, as is dermatology. So generally, there's very few trichologists in Northern Ireland. That's another issue. So the GP will tend to send people to the dermatologist, and they don't always know everything. And so I'm I want to try and get it out there that we are there as well. I'm not a fully fledged trichologist yet, but I am in the process. So, and I have many, many years of experience of it as well. So, I've seen it firsthand, and we can advise in that direction. So, yeah.
And you spoke a bit as well about the client and safeguarding the client and making sure it's a welcoming space.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. And as you said, like, you choose not to really post too much on social media because of safeguarding the client. So tell me about the importance of that.
Well, yourself, we're all, body shy or, conscious about something. And I would see people, especially going through treatment, maybe before some of their family even knows. So to me, that's very important to have that discretion for them. Anything that goes on inside that salon door, it does not go out of the clinic. It doesn't go out. I have separate areas to say, and private room for all the files and an office, so no one else gets there, only us, the staff, or the person that we take up into a dedicated area. So it is very important, because it's such a traumatic thing for anyone to have to go through, and especially when you're put into it maybe medically, or you don't have any choice, it just happens. For people, it's a big shock to the system, and they're so vulnerable, so vulnerable. So for me, I feel very honoured, very privileged that I'm their first port of call, you know. So you have to make it comfortable for them and make them feel that you're there to help, you know, because people do come in angry sometimes that they don't want to be here, but I know I need a wig, you know.
Yeah.
And I would try to explain to them in the way, you know, if you get, I'll get you a wig exactly like your own hair. We can match up in colour. We can do everything to get it exactly like you. So while you're losing your hair on your journey, that you'll still look in the mirror and you'll feel like you. And to me, that really does help on the journey for the person. So they're not looking at this bare head all the time or worrying about it or stressing about it.
Yeah.
And I've had some, not personally myself, but I had a family member who went through it. So, you know, that to have that bit of empathy for people
That's
in
where
that
your
situation,
passion
I am
comes
so
from.
passionate about
Yeah.
that as well. Yeah,
Because when you started, as you said, 6 years old in the salon, like you couldn't have envisioned how much it now has become your life
Yeah.
and helping people. And then when did you make that decision to go into the hair loss solutions then?
I'd say over 30 years ago. And I just noticed in the salon a few people coming in and just, you know, just with hair thin issues. And I was only 24 when I started, so it was about,
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
well, that was when I was started in 21 originally, so this is a good few years later. But yeah, I noticed women in their 40s and 50s,
Yeah.
and that was menopause then. I suppose I didn't really know an awful lot about it
Yeah.
then, to be honest, you know. So I just tried to learn a bit
It's
more
not
about
about
it. Yeah,
educating
yeah.
yourself.
Unfortunately, the Oma bomb happened in our beautiful town, and I had a lot of people with a lot of burnt hair off injuries that needed hair. So I was able to help in that way too. I had people coming in, you know, had cancer and they didn't know where to go either. So I was able to get them a wig source wigs for their cancer treatment.
Yeah.
So it kind of started off like that. We used to be big at doing bridal parties all the time. And I used to be listening to all these brides who were putting their wedding off so they could have their hair long. And I was thinking, what? You're not getting married because you've got short hair. But no, no, I'm not getting married to get long hair. And I just thought this was ludicrous because I always had long hair and never thought anything of it. So that was another wee alarm bell for me.
Yeah.
And I thought, let's look into that. So start looking into extensions and wefts and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. I probably was one of the first maybe in Northern Ireland to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that, you know, helped greatly there as well. So the brides didn't have to wait so long to get married.
The extensions are taking over at the minute. Tell me about the extensions. Is there a way that you can healthily, like for your hair, healthily wear extensions, or is it a no?
Well, no, it's not a no. It depends again on your situation.
Yeah.
Anyone that's thin in the top, absolutely not, because it's not the top. You need hair at the top. You don't need it down underneath. It will give you volume underneath and length, absolutely, and they're fine for that. But if someone's hair is fine and it's falling out, and someone's put extensions or a sewn in a
And
weave,
you see it all the time.
horrendous. It's just going to make it worse because the weight is going to pull it down.
I see it all the time on TikTok. Somebody already, you know, you can see that their hair needs a bit of a break,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they're putting loads of extensions in. You're thinking, no.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And how they come out, they're taken out as well. It depends what type they're. If they're bonded or pre-bonded, they're
Yeah.
very sore in the hair.
Yeah.
Very, very sore.
And then what kind of signs, if you do kind of suspect maybe I'm suffering with hair loss, what are the first signs to look for?
People's diet is one of the main things.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the hair's a visual thing, so you'll see that. I also check their nails.
Yeah.
People's nails, if they have ridges on their nails, is
Some
another
people say
giveaway.
like they might have like a bald patch or something.
Oh
and then
yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
think-
Bald patch. Well,
Yeah.
that's the visual thing.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah.
definitely see that, and you know, as a hairdresser, it's your duty really to let that person know. Much as it's very difficult to explain to them. But if you react in time, that's alopecia areata is one of the ones that does grow back. So if you act in time with that, you know, there's great success rate with it growing back.
It's really interesting. So as you said, then if your hair gets clogged, is that what you were saying? So then if you've done enough damage, then though that's maybe when it can't be reversed. Would that be right?
Well, it depends if you have harsh chemicals. I seen a lady, one
like
of my
the bleach and stuff.
first ladies years ago had been continually bleaching her hair at home, continually, and she actually had burnt her whole scalp. But the hair would never grow in it
Yeah,
again because the
yeah.
scar tissue, it'll never ever grow. You know, so that kind of thing was very damaging. With alopecia, it's an autoimmune deficiency, so it's a bit like psoriasis. There is no real cure, but there is help to keep it at bay and to help encourage that growth back again as well.
And you've mentioned a few times the diet, and I'm really interested. Is there any foods that we should be eating in particular?
Well, we all need our greens, as we know.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like them. People that are vegetarian, they need their protein, so they need to
Yeah.
be taking supplements, you know, to counteract what they're not eating. Drinking lots of water, obviously, is very important. Sleep as well. Sleep rest and exercise is all very, very important. It also helps stimulate your blood flow. And as I said, when you have a healthy blood flow and blood supply, you will have healthy growth of hair. Yeah.
So that's what you recommend then, the greens and making sure.
Well, you may need supplements. Yeah, you could be lacking in vitamin B12, folic acid, which people only associate with pregnancy. But really and truly, we should all be taking vitamin B on a daily basis, as your body doesn't absorb vitamin B. So you need to be taking it on a daily basis.
Oh, wow,
it's very important. Yes, you'll need all your A's and your all your B's as well. But vitamin B12 is a very important one.
It's like anything. Your diet really does kind of.
Absolutely.
Have such a huge impact. And then you also have wigs in the salon. You do a lot of fittings and stuff and I've seen you have a beautiful array of wigs there. So tell me a bit about that as well.
So the wigs, so we do wigs for everyone. I work very closely with the Little Princess Trust, who are an amazing organisation. They give free wigs to children up until the age of 24, and that also covers alopecia as well as cancer. And they're constantly doing funding. It is funded business, so we would cut the children's hair and send it off to them, and it takes maybe 5 to 7 heads of hair to make one wig.
Wow.
So they're usually asking for about 12 inches of hair now to be cut off, so it's quite a bit for some people.
Yeah.
But if someone was wanting a revamp, it's brilliant. I have 3 daughters and they've
done
amazing heads of hair, and they've done it 3 times each. So it's really hard.
You wouldn't even be able to notice it off the hair.
No, you wouldn't.
So
you
long.
wouldn't. Right, so long. So so work along with them, and then say they do up to the age of 24. So then we would do every range of hair piece and full wigs as well. So we do gents as well, toupees, full wigs for men, and we'd deal a lot of ladies that have cancer, so your full wigs for them as well. So, and they have come on so well. I used to, I still customize them for clients. I can make them smaller, can make them a little bit bigger. We do a head measurement obviously, but everybody's hand's different, so you can't always buy off the shelf, so you have to do customizing. We do synthetic, we do ones that are high heat, we do fully human hair, so it just depends on the needs of the client. We advise what we feel that's best for them.
But is there any courses that you need to do to learn how to style those properly and cut them?
Yes, you definitely do. There are techniques. It's not like cutting real hair. Even maybe real hair wigs, you still need to have professional training, which I've had for years, and still go to courses and for new products and new items as well. So no, you definitely need your professional training to cut wigs, because if there's a mistake made on that wig, that's it's destroyed.
Yeah, and they're so expensive.
And they are the human hair, and that they are very expensive. So it is maybe a big outlay for some people. So you don't want someone making a complete mess of it, or telling people to cut them at home themselves is really not the right thing to be doing. You need the professional, and that's what we're there for, and have been for many years to do that. So. And
would that be the same then for like the hair pieces then?
Absolutely, hair pieces the same thing. Yeah, exactly. As well, we customize, as I say. We can make them bigger, we can make them smaller, but we customize them for the person's hairstyle. If they have hair still underneath, we can cut that into their own hair and blend into their own hair. So it's exactly the same. That there's no division, no difference. Not just a matter of just plopping something on someone's head.
That's really interesting. I never actually knew that. I didn't ever realize that you actually can get qualified in doing that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And a lot of the companies that I'm with for years, they do regular training, regular courses. There's always something new anyway, But once you do your training, you know how to do it, surely. But you'll always learn something new, because it's different. There's also different technologies of fibre has come out, very like human. So human hair's got very scarce as well, so it's quite expensive, and to get the longer length and all that style of wig. So there are new technologies out there that are very like human, but you can't cut them the same way as you would cut normal hair. There's a technique and a way of doing it, and even the scissors, there's different scissors and razors and blades and things as well.
Right. And would the hair be there's synthetic hair as well?
Yes,
right?
synthetic. Yeah.
And so cutting that would be different to cutting wigs with human hair.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And your sisters, you have different sisters. Our hairdressing sisters can cost up to like £1,000. Yeah, for cutting normal hair. People don't realise that. So we have also expensive scissors we use, not expensive as that, for the wigs, because they blunt very quickly, very easily, because it isn't hair, it's a type of fibre. So you have to be, very careful what you use.
Say somebody is in a position and they've gotten a wig or they've gotten a hairpiece, then how do you look after these wigs? Like, is there a way that you do it?
Yeah, well, we would give the client full instructions of how to look after the piece. We explain it in great detail. We would give them a care package home. We also offer the service in the salon as well, so people can leave their pieces in with us, and we can look after them and treat them, whatever needs done with them. When it's done, we'll do it. Also, wigs do need cutting as well. I believe it or not, after maybe a few months of wear. Contrary to people's belief, they don't grow, but they can swell. So, and they get friction marked. So again, we take that back. We'll treat it. We'll take the client in and fit it again and restyle it, maybe perhaps as well, or just give it a trim to get rid of that damage that's been done to it. It's vital you don't put heat on some of these wigs because it absolutely will destroy them. So again, there's a lot of wrong information given out there. So every client that we sell a wig to, no matter what is our hairpiece, they go home with a handout and their full care package. So they have everything they need and we explain everything. And if they're unsure, they have our number and contact details if they need to ring us back and ask us anything. Because people do forget. It's just very exciting when you get lovely new hair and you're going home and you're forgetting that it's not real and then you go put heat on it and that's it destroyed. So, we do talk them through the whole process as well. Yeah. So it's very important, and give them the care packs home of the correct products. You don't use normal shampoo on them. You don't use fairy liquid. You don't use washing powder. You don't use comfort washers. You don't use those fabric softeners.
Fairy liquid?
Yes, you'd be surprised.
Oh my God. And then as well, for the likes of the human hair wigs, as you were talking about, how long can those wigs last for?
Well, human hair can last anything from 6 months to a year or beyond that. It just depends again how they're looked after and how they're cared. I mean, I have clients that leave them with us every 3 weeks, some every 2 weeks, which is fantastic. They have spares. They'll have a few. You need to have a few if you're wearing a wig full time. You need about 4 a year. So if they're good quality, which they usually are, they'll last for years. So if you've 2 or 3 or 4, even you're swapping around all the time, getting washed and treated, leave it in with us, get treated or treated at home yourself with the correct products, you will get your life out of it, definitely.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. I had someone actually the other day had their 6 years.
Oh my God.
And that's really unusual. And she does.
And it looks
she comes
good still.
amazing. She comes to us on a regular basis and we do it for her. Yeah. And some people can leave them off and go off and do their business and come back. And so you don't have to sit in a room. We do give people a nice wee private room and a cup of coffee, and they can have their laptop or a magazine or just sit there and chill and relax. Or we maybe do a wee scalp treatment on them while they're waiting to have their piece done. Yeah. So it's a nice service as well. And gives them a wee bit of time to switch off and, to themselves,
It just goes to show as well, that professional care for wigs and stuff, it goes such a long way. Because I feel like I've never really heard this information that, caring for a wig, it can last for so long.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And they're synthetic as well. They'll last, 6 to 9 months, maybe even beyond that if you look after them correctly with the correct products and the correct information. Very important.
But in terms of somebody who has, went through chemotherapy and their hair is starting to grow back, then what is the next stage for them?
Well, when we're in their journey at the very beginning with them, when we give them their new hair and maybe help cut some of that hair away when it starts to fall out, I would also advise some products they can use during the time of their treatment. The hair does grow back fairly quickly after the last treatments. You're really not allowed to put any colour on the hair or the scalp. We like our clients to be, and you do need to check with your oncologist anyway, but it's advised that you don't put any kind of colouring on your scalp for at least 6 months clear of treatments. So anything you're putting on your scalp is straight into your bloodstream. So after people's had treatment, they've had enough in their system. Exactly. So, we have to be very careful there. We offer natural colours for them. So there's no parabens, no sulfates. They're very safe to use, as are the products as well. So, that helps their journey for their hair to grow back. And the oxygen is also excellent at this point as well. It helps to speed the growth up, which is really good because the hair grows back curly. And everybody think they're like a wee lamb and they're saying, curly hair. And it's lovely. Some people love it, some people hate it. But what actually has happened there, the hair follicle has got distorted with the treatment. So that's why it grows out curly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not that they've just automatically got curly hair.
I've that before. I never knew that was why.
So, the products we have can really help ease the scalp there as well, but also alleviate that curl a bit, and that frizz leaves it but much more softer. And quite a lot of famous people have used it. Kylie Minogue was one of our advocates years ago using it when her hair was growing back, and a lot of other people. But it's a great product in that way as well. So you're there for them after as well to help them get that hair back into a good style as well, shaping and styling it. So the journey just doesn't end if you're just giving them a wig. you're right through there with them as well, you know.
Yeah,
so.
as you say, it's a process kind of from beginning to end. You're
Yeah,
there for them through the whole journey.
And for them
It's
to
lovely.
transition out of that wig too is a big step.
Yeah.
So again, we have the private areas for doing that as well, for them to help them along and guide them when you know they're ready to move on to a different style or a different piece or into their own hair then as well. So yeah, it's very rewarding when you see someone come through the other end.
Yeah.
You know that you've got, you know, you help kind of get them there or made it a wee bit easier for them, you know, on the way. Yeah.
I have to say, I've just learned so much from you today. And even you were speaking about, you know, the parabens and the sulfates. Is there things that we need to be looking out for in our hair care products that we should be a bit wary of?
Yes, definitely parabens and sulfates are two alarm bells. Again, they're going into your bloodstream. They're causing a lot of issues with people.
So you need to make sure then it's not in your shampoo.
Yeah, it's in your shampoos. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. People, you're buying, you know, these products online. You don't know what you're getting. They can tell you this, can tell you that, but always do a wee bit of research on all your products. It's very, very important. Also, your skin products as well. It's the same as well. So parabens and sulfates, you know, disrupt your whole hormonal system as well. 'Cause as I said, everything's going through your bloodstream, so your endocrine system has been affected there. So that can also cause hair loss too. So you really want to avoid those kind of things, especially if you're coming off treatment. It's very important to use the right products and get the right advice from the professionals.
We were talking about social media before as well, and just some of the information you get on social media is just crazy. But what is a huge misconception that you have seen about just hair in general?
There are a lot of people out there and they're doing wigs and hair pieces and probably most of them maybe aren't even qualified and maybe giving the wrong information to people, or just I just feel it's not right, you know, selling people things that maybe it's not really what they need or what they want, and just giving them that wrong information. Whereas we are professionals, you know, if you have any issues, you really should be going to a professional to discuss that. And you can come into our salon, we book a consultation, you can try on what you want, and then we'll you know, show you what your needs are and offer you what we have, you know. So I just feel there's so many people out there. There's a lot of that sort of thing going on, and just let people know there is provision in Northern Ireland.
Advice.
Yeah, and I've been doing this, as I said, now for over 30 years, you know. So, and we're very well based. We're based in Omagh. We're central in Omagh, so it's a very, very convenient place and very discreet parking and everything as well. So, yeah.
Then on to the business side of things. You're obviously a woman in business and someone who I have looked up to for many years. Probably asked you all these questions before, but tell me about that as well. Like, you know, opening a business and keeping it going. Have you got any tips for anybody listening about?
Yeah, well, hard work. It really is very hard work. I put in a lot of long hours when I started first. I used to work 4 late nights. I didn't work on a Monday. I used to take a Monday off, but that was the day you do all your business and everything. So Sunday, Monday I'd off, but I'd work 4 late nights and Saturdays, and I never closed early on a Saturday. It was always around 6 o'clock. So it's just being there all the time. And like the first 3 years I was in business, I didn't even have a holiday. You know, I never took time off ever. If I was asked to a wedding, I would never go to the full day. I would go to the evening because I didn't want to let people down. And I do feel that's really stood by me, because I still have people from 34 years ago still coming to me.
Yeah, they remember that day that you maybe didn't go to something and fit them in.
And then you're there for their weddings. Yeah. You're there for the engagement, the weddings, and maybe the babies. Yeah. And then into, you know, all the other events that come in their lives, and maybe when their daughters get married, you're still there and you're in their life. So they're not just clients, they're friends as well. Yeah. They really are. And I mean, they've supported me as much, you know, so I wouldn't be there without them. But yeah, it is hard work. It definitely is hard work, and you have to keep trying to do something different, which I feel I've been trying to do for years, diversify all the time and do something different to try and keep yourself current.
And then for someone like you, obviously you've started your business. Did you foresee all of this kind of success that you've had? Would you say that you're someone who's driven? Did you do a lot of planning and think this is where I'm aiming towards, or was it a gradual process? Because I've had different people on the podcast. Some people say I've known from the start this is where I was aiming to go. Yeah. Other people say it just kind of gradually happened.
No, I definitely it was my dream. I always wanted to be a hairdresser, always, and I was planning. I used to draw in books, and I was going to call it the name. I was going to call it Hair Today, Gone Tomorrow. Thank God I didn't go for that. You know, and you know, we colour schemes, and
well, you wouldn't want it to be gone tomorrow.
No, but hair today, gone tomorrow. So no, thank God I didn't go with that name. I just thought I'd stick with Helena's. People knew me in the area, so you know, you got clients that would have came to you years ago out of other salons, so that I felt was a better name to go with. But no, it's just something I always wanted to do, and I worked really, really hard, and I have plenty of sisters as guinea pigs and brothers to try out hairstyles and things on. Even when I was doing my secretarial, I I used to be cutting hair in the cloakrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the business studies used to be with a big pair of shoes.
Seriously? Oh my God.
They used to be lining up at break times. I'm not joking. Like, I had
Yeah.
no training at all
Yeah.
then. It was just kind of, used to watch and learn.
Instinctual,
And,
yeah.
No, I always wanted to be a hairdresser. And I can't imagine doing anything else. I absolutely love what I do. When I get up in the morning, it's not that I don't ever want to go to work. And especially the hair loss end of it, I absolutely love it. It's not work when you go, it's not hard work when you go to work and you're happy at work,
And I think on every podcast, I think I ask people about confidence, and especially with owning a business. But how important to you is being confident in yourself, your decisions, and creating something like this? Because some people have these maybe misconceptions about themselves and hold themselves back from doing good things.
Oh,
So
absolutely,
tell me
yeah.
about that.
Well, I mean, you will get knockdowns and you have to prepare yourself for that, yeah. But just keep going. If that's your dream and that's what you want, just keep going. I had plenty of knockdowns too. And I remember having dermatitis in my hands, and I was told, the doctor told me to give up my hairdressing, take another trade. And I said, absolutely not, there's no way. And hands were cut and bleeding, and I still went on and still kept at it. And no, if you have a dream, just go for it. Don't let anybody stand in your way, and don't let people put you down. You know the kind of person you are yourself. You know what you do for others. You're doing a good job. Why would you not want to do it? So don't let anybody put you down. I know it is hard. I'm quite nervous doing this today, actually. When
Don't seem it at all.
When I'm in the salon, I can talk for Ireland. I'm probably talking for Ireland in a minute, but
No, that's amazing.
It is a confidence thing, and it does take you a long time. One of the first salons I went to, I fainted behind a client. Yeah. I was just
Try not to laugh.
I was only a junior, and I was taking her from the basin and I stood
my
talking to the
God.
lady, and she was talking to me, and I was so nervous, and next thing, bang, I went down on the floor, and all I remember was waking up in the kitchen. But I mean, I got up and got out again, and had a good.
Was that nerves?
I was nerves, yeah, absolute nerves.
Oh my
Possibly a
God.
lack of food, maybe too, might
my
help.
God.
Us hairdressers are very
I hope
bad
that
ourselves.
wasn't you earlier then, before you're coming in here.
No.
nervous.
Well, I wouldn't like to think I'm a cocky person. I hate that word, but confidence is very hard to. You can't. It has to come with you.
Yeah.
You learn to be confident. It's not just something that you wake up with. I think it's something that you learn.
Yeah, I think especially as a woman, and obviously International Women's Day was last week, and I think I've actually seen, like, even, this is a bit of a tangent, but women are always trying to make themselves smaller in some way, whether it's like you're dieting or you're
Absolutely.
shrinking your personality. And I even seen, like, in the old Chinese tradition where they're bounding their feet to even make their feet smaller. But I think it is such a thing for women to kind of put themselves down.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely very inspiring to hear your story.
I have ladies coming in, and they're like curled up basically because they're hiding their head. They've got no hair or very little hair, and they're so nervous. They come in just like, oh my God, it's so sad, and it's heartbreaking. And they'll say, I rang here so many times and I've cancelled, and I'm so nervous, and I say, I know, but you're here now. This is a big step for you. I totally understand. So let me see what I can do for you.
Yeah.
So once start trying things on, and you can actually just literally see their shoulders dropping in the seat, and their head lifting, and when they go out with that new hair, I'm not kidding you, their head is high, and they'll be in tears sometimes before they leave, and I get a lovely hug, and it's lovely for me when they feel that way, because women are knocked down all the time.
I know.
Be it you're too fat, you're too thin, you're this, you're that. We are who we are, and there's no excuse for people not having good hair, good teeth, good nails now, because it's all there for us. It's just, just go for it. If you want new hair, if you want new nails, new teeth, go for it. It's there.
And I just want to say, you just exude the most amazing energy. As I've said, I've always felt that about you, and you're a beautiful person inside now. But I just want to ask you if there's any one tip that you have for anybody who's wanting to start something like what you've done. If you've got a passion in industry, for example, for you with hair loss, what would be your advice to someone who's thinking that they have a dream and they want to pursue it?
Yeah, definitely go for it. Do your research. Find out if it's definitely for you, and just reach for the stars. Don't let anyone stand in your way or put you down. Just go for it, because you are a great person no matter what. People say that you can't do this, you can't do that. Just go for it. If you really want it, go for it.
Just as we wrap up here, where can somebody find you if they want to book in for a consultation with you?
So they can find us in Oma at number 21, Helena's Hair Clinic, 21 Campsie Road, Oma. So we're very centrally located, free car park to the back of the premises. We're on Facebook, Instagram as well. So Yeah, and you can PM me if you want any private messages through those.
So for anybody listening, that's NO21 Helena's Hair Clinic. Well, it's been a long time coming, so I've always wanted to have you on the podcast. I'm so glad you've taken the time out
so much.
to do it. Thank you so much for coming on,
you.
and thank you to anybody who's listening to the podcast. As always, if you have any guests that you would like me to get on, let me know, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.